Good morning, everybody. My name is Gage. Welcome to my channel. This morning, I'd like to take a little time to introduce what I do on Sundays, because not everybody has attended this Serene Sunday series. Well, let me start off by telling you a little bit about it. On Sundays, I like to take a break from the monotony of the week. I like to take a break up from the true crime investigative series that I run on my channel. This is just a wind down to allow people to kind of talk about things that they're going through and to give some insight on some other areas that individuals who watch this channel might get some good insight on how to deal with problems in their daily living. I have individuals in the chat that ask me questions, and I'm able to answer those questions for people. Well, let me move up the mic. Is that better? Well, let me take this off. Might be this. Is that better? I hope you guys were able to hear what I had to say. And like I was saying, Sundays are reserved for kind of just relaxing and listening to positive insight on any issue that you might be dealing with throughout the week. I give this opportunity for individuals that are subs on my channel, or people that, like, I'm live streaming through Facebook right now. If you hear anything that you might like to continually come to the channel to listen to, either on Sundays or throughout the week, which I broadcast about true crime and cases that are relevant to individuals in the true crime community. So I'd like to start this morning discussing the Serenity prayer. I don't know if you guys can still hear the music in the background a little bit. I'm going to turn it up just a little. So good morning once again. Like I said, my name is Gage. Welcome. Thank you for coming and spending your morning with me. I'd like to start by discussing the Serenity prayer. I don't know if anybody's ever heard it, but if you are struggling with any kind of issue, you can stop throughout your day and say this prayer to kind of get you back in focus on the purpose of your day and the purpose of your being, because purpose is important whenever we're trying to achieve certain goals in our lives. So the Serenity prayer goes like this: God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. Taking, as he did, the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever, ever in the next. One thing that I want to put out there right quick is I'm not pushing religion. I'm not pushing anything but spirituality. So whenever I use the word God, it's a spiritual term. It's not a religious term. I'm not trying to project anything on anyone that they're not comfortable listening or hearing. So the Serenity prayer is a way for you to allow certain things in your life to be regrounded a way for you to challenge your thought process. This morning I want to talk about anxiety. I don't know if anybody in the chat or anybody watching has ever dealt with anxiety, but I'm going to give you some coping skills to deal with this anxiety that sometimes cripples individuals to the point where they can't function, they can't move past their issue that they're dealing with at the moment. Anxiety is real, just like depression is real, just like heart disease is real, just like cancer is real. You know, there's certain individuals in life that don't believe that these things are real. If you've ever had a panic attack, you understand exactly what that feels like. I'm sorry to hear that, Aquarius. I really am. So let me pull this. No, I'm not going to pull it up. I'm just going to read from it. It says, anxieties and worries in short and long term, with the right coping skills, you can learn to let go of it. There are many things in this life that can bring about anxiety and a whirlwind of worry. Sometimes it feels too easy to start worrying, much harder to let go of it. Anxiety and worry can come with a combo of mental and physical symptoms like racing thoughts, tense muscles, shallow, quick breathing, hyperventilating, a racing or pounding heart, restlessness, trouble concentrating, or poor memory. With a toolbox of strategies at your disposal, you can learn to let go of your anxiety and worry right now and over time. You ask yourself, how can I relieve my anxiety instantly? Well, let me tell you. When you're in a loop of negative, anxious thoughts, you often want to find a solution right away because that's the kind of world in which we live. We want solid, quick solutions really instantly a lot of times. But oftentimes when we're stuck in this anxious mindset, when we're stuck in this anxious feeling of being, we don't know how to get out of it. And most of the time we're just frozen. We're just waiting for the episode to go. It might seem the opposite of what you should do, but to release worries immediately, you may want to learn your feelings and the present moment. So, you know, a long time ago, I learned this technique that I was taught by somebody. It's called being in the here and now. You can start by noticing your inner world. What are you feeling and thinking? Your outer world. What can you observe by your senses? What do you see? What do you feel? What do you smell? Or what do you hear? Breathing. Focusing on your breathing in and out. Feeling how it fills and empties your lungs. Like I was just telling you, I learned a coping skill by somebody that was close to me. This coping skill goes like this. If you're able to, you sit in a chair and you close your eyes and you focus on where you're at. You might even tell yourself the city where you're at, the time where you're at, the date, what you feel, what you sense. Like if I was doing it right now, it would be like this. I'm currently sitting in a room. I can hear the AC running. If I had my eyes closed, I'd be breathing. I would tell myself, I'm in a chair. I can feel my left leg. I can feel my right leg. I can feel my left hand. I can feel my right hand. I can feel my left arm. I can feel my right arm. I can feel my neck. I can feel my head. I can feel my left ear. I can feel my right ear. And I know it sounds silly, But when you're in a state of anxiety or you're in a state of panic, any little thing to break that cycle, to bring you back into the here and now, it always helps. And always remember to breathe. You can also call out your symptoms and your thoughts. Sometimes naming your symptoms can help you handle them. For instance, if your heart is racing, acknowledging this is a common physical activity symptom or anxiety symptom can give you some kind of perspective. It's anxiety, not a heart issue. Because many times it might feel like a heart attack. It might feel like you're going into cardiac arrest. And that's not a very good feeling. I've had those feelings myself where I thought, oh my God, my chest is tightening up a little bit. What's going on? So you can tell yourself, look, I need to slow down. I need to take an inventory of what exactly is happening to me. Obviously, if it is heart related, you will know the symptoms. You can try to be educated on the symptoms of heart disease and the symptoms of heart attacks or strokes. So that way, if you're dealing and living with anxiety, you understand the difference. So you don't add more stress, more worry, and more strife to whatever you're dealing with at the moment. When you're anxious or worried, your thoughts may become distorted, further increasing your symptoms. Some common negative patterns of thinking include overgeneralizing, all or nothing thinking, jumping to conclusions, thinking in shoulds, and catastrophizing. You know, when you catastrophize something, you make things worse by your own thought patterns. You tell yourself, oh my God, this is the worst thing that possibly could happen to me at this moment. Yes, indeed, it does take practice. And sometimes the way you talk to yourself, it makes the situation worse. Try to use calm, soothing words, breathing, not catastrophizing it, not making it worse than it is. And you might even try mantras. If you don't know what a mantra is, it's something that you tell yourself either with a kind of jingle, or you can repeat it after, you repeat it to yourself. You say it over and over and over until you calm yourself down. They could be words or phrases that are used in deep spiritual or meditative practices. In the moment, they might also be a good way to challenge negative self-talk, and that's what we're going to talk about next. And blame. Because when you're in a state of anxiety, sometimes you're blaming yourself with shame and guilt, and you're talking to yourself in a way that is not productive or positive. Individuals sometimes they overemphasize certain situations, and they continue to ruminate those situations in their mind, replaying it over and over and over and over, just like a CD or a movie would be stuck, and it constantly reverts back to the previous scene, and it plays a little bit, retracts itself to the previous scene, and plays over and over. That's what our minds do sometimes. In the moment, they might be a good way to challenge negative self-talk and blame. Like I said, the way you talk to yourself is the way your body's going to react to stimuli. So if you're constantly telling yourself negative things, then your body's going to react to it as if it's an emergency situation. You go into fight or flight. Consider creating a list of anxiety-soothing quotes, proverbs, or sayings that you can repeat when you're feeling anxious. They may be able to ground you and grant you some perspective. And I understand that whenever you're in a state of panic, whenever your anxiety is going through the roof, it's hard to refocus. It's hard to tell yourself good things. it's hard to snap yourself out of it instantly. But at that moment, when you get used to what's going on and what's happening, it's almost like you pull something out of your emergency first aid kit. But in this case, you would pull out some sayings, some words. Maybe you pull out a little notebook with some positive self-talk, some positive quotes, some positive things that you can tell yourself to overcome those negative self-talk. Because when we're stuck in that anxiety-prone mindset, we're not very aware of any positivity going on, so we must create this. Here's some quick somatic stress exercises. There's something called the wide angle vision technique. This focuses on things that are distant from you, but still in your field of vision, at least 200 feet away. So you can look straight ahead, then relaxing your vision, you allow yourself to focus less and less and less for at least 20 seconds. So look straight ahead and then slowly bring the focus in, and it kind of is a somatic effect that calms you down. Cadence breathing. We've talked about breathing exercises on these channels. You inhale for 4 count, then exhale for 6 count, repeating the cycle for 1 minute. You can use a stopwatch on your phone for this, or just try counting to yourself. This really works. But just like anything else that you are learning to do, it takes consistency and practice to get better and better at this. The psychological signs: take a double breath inhale followed by a slow exhale. Repeat 3 times. I've talked about guided imagery on the Sunday Serenity posts. And whenever you're doing guided imagery, a lot of times you can take yourself through an image in your mind that is a safe, happy, enjoyable place. Because anxiety is full of turmoil, it's full of stress, it's full of strife. So if you can find a way to take your mindset to a happier place, to a calmer place, while you're breathing in the process, that will calm you down. And also, if you can do audio clips, like you can record yourself on your phone and tell yourself you're okay, and then play it whenever you're in a sense of anxiety. Record positive thoughts about yourself. You're not gonna self-destruct. You're not gonna be in this forever. You're gonna get through this. Everything's okay. You're just having a moment. If you record these sayings on audio files, then you can play them whenever you're in a state of panic. Especially if you're by yourself, because most of the time these things happen when there's no one around, when it's hard to get in touch with people. And, what better way to listen to anybody than to listen to your own voice? I want to talk about challenging self-defeating thoughts. We've talked about it just now. So self-defeating thoughts can be anything that takes your mindset from a calm state of mind. We all have them. It happens all day long. Anything can trigger them, whether a memory of the past, whether something just traumatic happened to you, and you're trying to just stuff it to the back of your mind. Everybody deals with this. When people are depressed or anxious, they have low self-esteem. They often develop the habit of thinking in ways to confirm negative emotions or opinions about themselves. They support their fears and contribute to and perpetuate low self-image. 3 types of distorted thinking are selective attention, paying more attention to what confirms a sense of being bad or unlovable than what disproves these ideas. Selective memory, remembering what confirms a sense of being bad or unlovable rather than what disproves these ideas. You can be around a new person that you meet and they remind you of somebody, or they talk in a way that perpetuates a memory that wasn't so pleasant in your past. And even unconsciously, you record that moment or you record that conversation. And later on, you start ruminating those thoughts through your brain. And you start telling yourself those negative self-talk. Or maybe you're at work and you mess up. Or maybe you're, with some friends and you're trying something for the first time and they start to make fun of you. And that is a trigger of yours, is when people start to gang up on you. You start telling yourself, well, I'm just a bad person, or I'm unlovable. Well, you have to disprove these ideas and you have to try something different. There is a thing called selective interpretation, which questions believing what confirms a sense of being bad or unlovable, and thinking that things that disprove these thoughts are mistakes or lies. The selective interpretation can also involve interpreting ambiguous information as confirming negative or self-perception. Many times individuals in our daily living, they have negative perceptions of who they are, what they've done to other people, how they've treated themselves, how they've treated others. Negative self-image. And this can happen at any time. You could be going to the pool and all of a sudden you put on your bathing suit or whatever, and you start telling yourself, man, I really should have worked out harder for summer. I really don't like the way I look. People are just going to judge me. They're going to talk about me. They're going to do this and that and the other. Well, having positive self-talk does not mean that you become overzealous to the point where you become sarcastic, where you become hurtful to other people. There's a difference between confidence and being conceited. You don't have to be overzealous about the compliments you give yourself. So when you challenge these bad or unlovable thoughts or these lies that you tell yourself that continue to perpetuate the negative self-perceptions, you have to be realistic. If you're not happy with how you look physically, then you might start off small. We can all use a day at the gym or a week at the gym or a month at the gym. However long you feel that you need to go, we could all use that. 30 minutes a day, there's nothing wrong with that. It helps with health problems and things of that nature. Even walking around your neighborhood. If you're not very sociable and you're not confident, walk around your neighborhood for 30 minutes. Walk in your yard. Do things that give you a little bit of oxygen to get your blood flowing, to get your endorphins going. That'll challenge some of these negative self-talk. These patterns develop over time and become so enriched that the thoughts seem natural and real. That's where the anxiety comes from. A lot of times is we perceive fear as being a real thing. So false events appearing real, meaning that if something appears real to us, we're going to react to it as if we're dealing with it at that moment. However, they are distortions because they're incomplete and they're untrue. These patterns can be changed over time with practice. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I don't want you to type them out, or I don't want you to necessarily have to speak them out loud, but I want you to ask yourself these questions sometimes to overcome these self-talks. What are one or two things that happened today that call into question the idea that you're unlovable or not good? Example, a friend texts you, you did something nice for someone smiled at you, you had a positive thought about someone. So, what made you unlovable or not good enough for these things? If you did these nice things and then it wasn't returned in a positive way, what made you turn on yourself? Because we do that. We turn on ourselves. We tell ourselves, hey, I text this person, I wished them a happy birthday, they didn't respond. Or I did something nice to them, they didn't even say thank you. So I guess I'm not good enough in their eyes, or they didn't like what I did, and the your negative mantra starts going. But you need to learn how to stop those things. Because it's not always about you. It's about the person and their own issues that they may be dealing with. Because for every negative thought you might have, think about their negative thoughts that they have about themselves. How did you feel in this situation? Happy, uncomfortable, confused, or numb? What did you think about this situation? Was it important or not? Was it real or not? Did it happen because of something you did or just by chance? Did you deserve it? Of course not. Nobody deserves to be made feel like they're not good enough or they're not deserving of having good things. Do the feelings and thoughts in 2 and 3 contribute to the selective attention, memory, interpretation that you have whenever you think about these people? If so, how are these typical thoughts and feelings for you? Are they a typical pattern? How do you talk to yourself? Are you a negative talker? Whenever somebody says something nice to you, do you shoot down their compliment by saying, let's always use this example because I've heard people do it. They might compliment you on your shoes or your attire, and instantly you shoot down their compliment with, oh, I got this on sale. I got this at the thrift store, or I got this for $5, or I got this for whatever. Well, that's not what they were saying. They were saying that it looks really good on you, and you basically called them a liar by having to dispel their compliment with a reason to accept it or not accept it. So if somebody gives you a compliment, try to be a little more positive with a thank you or maybe a retribution back by saying, oh, I like your rings, or I like your blouse or whatever, your shoes or your bag or whatever. I mean, try to be the person first that gives the compliment, because the way that you talk to yourself and you talk to others is how you're going to perceive your world. So, what positive things did you do today? Everything counts. Nothing is insignificant. Completed a task? Did you text a friend? Did you get out of bed when you didn't feel like it? Ate a good meal? Made an effort to do something difficult? A lot of these things seem like they're so natural for some people. But getting out of bed when you don't feel like it, maybe you have health problems, maybe you have those health problems that create some anxiety in you, maybe you have some family problems that you just have built up over time that you can't dispel out of your head. Well, sometimes it's hard to get out of bed because that anxiety and anger that you must possess, that anger would be the outward emotion dealing with the anxiety. It eventually builds up into depression. So when you're depressed, you don't feel like doing much. You don't feel like being sociable. You don't feel like talking to people. You don't feel like being around people. So you just isolate, which makes the depression even worse. In what ways have people recently shown they appreciate you? Even small gestures count. A colleague asked for your help. A friend complimented you. A relative contacted you. How many compliments have you given today? How many compliments have you given today already? Here where I'm at, it's 11:05. I've yet to compliment a single person unless I did it at the beginning of this live. But other than that, I haven't interacted with anybody yet because I haven't really gotten my day started. I was preparing for this live. On the true crime channel that I do, or the true crime stream that I do, there's a lot of negativity, and it often bleeds into people's daily living because they're so preoccupied with the cases that they hear about. And I've had individuals in my chat that have become very disruptive with their thoughts and with their beliefs. And you know, there should be no point on this internet anywhere where you feel the right to disrespect another person. Even if you don't know them, even if you know them, there should be no place on these platforms where you should show disrespect of any sort. It's okay to have fun and, joke around, especially if you know the person in real life and you have these inside jokes. But there's a difference if you don't know them and you're maliciously trying to harm them by typing things out that are not kind. When you think of your quality, do you only think of those you don't like? What are some of them that you do like? If it's hard to answer, think of what others may say they like about you. I've never asked that question, honestly, because I'm not a negative person, but my own challenge is myself. So whatever somebody could give me as a compliment, I challenge that in myself. Like if somebody says, "Oh, you're a helpful person," well, I understand that and I'm thankful for their compliment. But every day I challenge myself. I set out with a list of rules to better myself that day. Better than I was yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before. Do I always succeed? No. But I do that every day to challenge myself. And so if you have qualities that people give you compliments for, even if you don't believe in them, at least say thank you. Think of a time recently you felt someone was showing you that you were bad or unlovable. Are there any possible alternative interpretations? You misinterpreted their action. The person is always rude. Is that person opinion isn't true? I talk to juveniles, in which I do for a living. I talk to juveniles. And one of the biggest things about juveniles is their perception and their reality. If they're called names or they're made fun of, or somebody makes a comment about their clothing or the way they talk or what what kind of cell phone they're wearing or that they have, it hits them to the core. And I've tried continuously to tell them other people's opinions don't matter of you, and you answer to what you're called. So if somebody calls you a negative name or it's hurtful, if you answer it, that means that you believe it. You don't have to defend a lie. They call you a name. You don't have to defend that because either you believe you are that or you believe that you're not. So if you believe that you're not, you don't have to defend a lie. And I would say the same thing on these YouTube streets, man. There's people that get on these streams and they defend lies that other people talk about them. For what? Somebody's perception of you shouldn't matter. If you really truly love yourself, you don't have to defend others' ignorance. Because you know the difference between reality and fiction, right? So why would you get on here, or even in real life, why would you get into an argument with somebody defending something that you know is not true? Just to try to show dominance. Well, that other person has already made you weak because they made you the loudest person in the room. Could you be exaggerating what the person's reactions mean? For instance, if a friend felt upset or something you said, did you jump to the conclusion that they hate you and are a terrible person? Is there a more realistic interpretation? Do you notice how all these questions have to do with your mindset and how you perceive reality. Well, that belief system came from somewhere. Whether you had a negative family upbringing, whether you had a dysfunctional upbringing, whether you had a happy upbringing and you just ventured into the negative side of life because you were just tired of everything being happy and hunky-go-lucky, so you gravitated to something a little more negative because it gave you your yang to your yin, Well, it's time to come back to the middle because most adults understand that too much stress causes problems in their health. Too much anxiety causes problems with their health. High blood pressure, heart disease, even cancer. Because we turn to alternative ways to cope with this stuff, and sometimes it's not healthy. And that becomes a pattern in our lives, and over time, it takes a toll on our bodies. While I'm talking about this, I'd like to send a shout out to Robert from True Crime Cult. He was, I heard recently he had something heart related happen to him. I wish him and his family lots of prayers and lots of quick healing because he's a good guy. I haven't really, interacted with him live on panel or anything, but what I have seen of him and talked with him, he's a good guy. Nobody deserves to be ill or sick without prayers or good thoughts going out to them. And anybody else who's listening to this, if you're having health issues or health problems, I hope that you continue fighting the good fight and understand that positive results sometimes help you heal quicker. So please know that the more positive that you are, the more positive things that you put out there, hopefully the more positive people you attract in your life and the more positive action to come your way. Are we always going to be positive 100%? No, we're not. But one thing that can cause our positivity to drain is talking about other people behind their backs. Talking lies about other people. Talking nonsense that isn't true. Or even lying just to gain a sense of belonging or acceptance. Because you view yourself that if you don't say these things or do these things, people aren't going to like you. As an adult, you should know that people are going to talk about you, good, bad, indifferent. Even after you're no longer here, people are going to talk good, bad, or indifferent about you. So you're never going to change that. So quit trying to fit in like you're in junior high or something. As an adult, at one particular point, you should stop worrying about what the world wants from you and create your own serenity in what you want from yourself and your reality. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and anybody who's watching this that has a YouTube channel or anything like that or subscription, if you enjoy what I did and you want to listen to more, I do have a page. It's called 12 Gage Investigative. I do have a lot of different topics that I cover. If you just hit the subscribe button and hit the like button before you leave on your way out, I would really appreciate that. I'm going to take a couple minutes to play some music, and then I'm going to be out of here. So you guys enjoy your Sundays and start your day off positive if you haven't already, and start your week off positive, because even though tomorrow is Monday, it's just another day. You don't have to bring negativity into the first day of the week. So let me try to play some positive music. Hope you enjoyed it.
Read the story.